Chris, I heard you talking on radio after Kevin O'Connell's comments about Justin Jefferson dealing with attention and triple teams.
Yeah.
And you kind of contrasted that to what an NBA star like Anthony Edwards has to do.
Sure.
Kind of revisit that a little bit. Just tell us how they are different.
Well, I mean, they're different in that, in the NFL, a wide receiver has to be given the ball. In the NBA, you can actually, oftentimes you can go get the ball, right? And so I think that's the biggest difference. I think the biggest similarity is obviously the gravity. Anytime they're going to commit multiple people onto one, that should open up opportunities for your teammates. And then it's in basketball, when you have the ball, it's about putting two on the ball, so you have to be willing to share it with your teammates. And in football, I would imagine you have to be willing to be okay that you're opening up opportunities for your teammates. So that's the differences and the similarities as I see it. So.
The guys seem to feel good about the identity forming over these last 5 games. What are you using this break here to really hone in on, to try and kind of keep building on that?
I mean, today we just went up and down a lot, and controlled scrimmage situations just to kind of get them back playing, with such a long break between games, if you will. So felt we needed to get a good run out today. Worked a little bit on our offense, the fluidity of it, keeping that. We found some things there, but we got to make sure that we're paying attention to it. Defensively, transition has been really good. Everything's been really good, but we fell apart in the third quarter transition-wise, and I'm not sure why that happened, but hopefully it's just a blip.
In terms of paying attention on offense, what do you kind of mean specifically?
Yeah, I mean, we got to get back to our structure, our early structures and our early ball movement, and then, we'll all continue to work on end of game, closing game situations, probably tomorrow. So.
Chris, what you saying, one of the things that I'm talking to Ant after Sunday that he noticed is Ant was kind of regretting the decisions that he made as opposed to regretting the shots that he missed. As in, he was regretting not giving up the ball in certain situations as opposed to just missing shots.
Yeah.
At what point in Ant's career did maybe that was turn where he was going from regretting those just missing shots versus making the wrong decision?
Yeah, I mean, to put everything in context, I think, the last few days since that game, we went back and looked at a lot, all of his clutch time decision making this season, and he graded out at about 80%. In our mind, subjectively putting our eyes on it, we felt that he has made the right play, 80% of the time, which is great. So that switch, I think, started to happen mid to late last year, knowing that in the playoffs it was coming. He did a really good job, I thought, in those early playoff series, of really creating offense and for making the right play and then letting the game come to him as it did. I think he just got a little excited, got probably in a little bit of a personal battle the other night, and I think that's where the regret comes. And also, it's good growth in the recognition of it, that it wasn't just about, missing shots. I'll make those shots at some point in time. Because the reality is, a lot of those tough shots, guys feel they're going to make them, but when you look at the numbers, they don't make them.
The way this roster is constructed and where you are at this point in the season, what's your position on situationality versus routine in terms of whether it's rotations or just riding a hot hand?
Yeah. I mean, we said we'd always leave ourselves the flexibility coming into the season that we'll close with whatever lineup. We felt we needed to get the job done. Mike would have probably given us some organization out there, but then in the context of, Ant's shot selection, would it have really mattered? Nikhil was playing so well. Maybe the other thing I could have done is go small, but, we've not really done that a ton. So I think we lean a little bit more towards situational, and when you're in that, when you're in that mindset, I'm not always going to get it right either. Hopefully I do way more than I don't, but sometimes, routine is easy because you just go to the routine, but that routine has to be good. So, we're still finding those combinations.
Do you have a preference? Would you like it to be predictable enough to be situational, or do you like the idea of being able to mix it up?
I mean, I'd prefer the idea of having like a solid set number of guys that, 5 guys, a lineup that every single time is going to get it done. And we haven't found that yet.
Chris, when you're talking about 80% grade now, what do you consider to be a good grade in terms of decision making and not?
I mean, obviously you want, I would say 80% is a pretty good grade, to be honest with you. You want that to keep climbing higher and higher, and but I would say if you go back a year or so ago, that was probably in the 50% range. So
This team doesn't move without the ball as much as any other team. Is that something that's just a function of personnel, or do you think that could really be a area of improvement?
it could definitely be an area of improvement. It was one of the things we were working on today, was just the movement on our offense. We have a lot of guys who kind of want the ball early, and they can get. Part of making the right play is you can do this with and without the ball. Like it's always kind of talked about with the ball, but you got to share the floor with your teammates by cutting and moving, and you got to get better in that area.
Chris, you mentioned Rob potentially being back this weekend. We've only seen a limited bit of him, on the floor this season. What have you seen in the non-game time growth from him thus far this season?
I think he's has a really good comfort level of playmaking and scoring, and being aggressive with the ball in his hands. I think he's found a small package within our offense that he really can thrive in. I think paring that down for him, and for him being comfortable, is important because he can focus on those things. Defensively continues to compete, particularly on the ball and out in the perimeter. He's got to get better, as the low man in the back, down at the bottom of the floor. I know it's going to be tough for him down there, but he's got to find a way to make an impact, whether it's come early, get steals, take a charge, be vertical. All those things are on the table for him. So, better every single time. He went 5-on-5 today for the first time since his injury, so that was good. So.
Is it amazing to him, as quick as he is, when he gets into the league and sees how quickly they find ways to defend him? I mean, is that one of the first big learning curves for somebody that has that skill set?
No doubt. I think overall speed is an issue, but I think the overall length of the players, they get to you a little bit earlier, they close you down a little bit quicker. Their reach is just a little bit. All that stuff takes a while to make the adjustment. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate it.